Hello champions and happy Tuesday. Today we've got one last chance to review for our unit test tomorrow. I know you're going to do a great job, and so does Mr. Smiles. Let's dive right into our video. Before we even get started, go ahead and write our Champions Credo on the top of our page. Believe it, I'm going to show you how great I am. Today you will have an opportunity to get ready to show everyone how great you are on your test tomorrow. Let's start by looking at the area of a parallelogram. To find the area of a parallelogram, all we have to do is multiply base times height. The height is any line that is at a 90 degree or right angle to the base and goes to the top of the figure, or to the side if your parallelogram is sideways. So let's find the area of each parallelogram. To show your work, you should label the base, the height, and the area. Look at A. What's the base? The base is 10. What's the height? The height is 6. So what's the area? The area is 60 centimeters squared. Look at B. Let's go ahead and put a place for us to write our base, our height, and our area. What's the base? Here the base is 15. It's the side that is at a right angle to the height. What's the height? It's 8. So what's the area? What's 15 times 8? Well, 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 more is 12. So the area is 120 centimeters squared. Now you try one. What's the base, height, and area of the parallelogram on the right? The base is 9, the height is 7, and the area is 63 centimeters squared. We may see parallelograms on grids. As you can see, you have space to show work for parallelogram A, parallelogram B, parallelogram C, and parallelogram D. Let's look at A. What are the base, height, and area of parallelogram A? Well, first let's find the base. What's the base? The base is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. What's the height? The height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So what's the area of parallelogram A? 6 times 4 is 24 square units. Now let's find the area of parallelogram B. What's the base of parallelogram B? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the height of parallelogram B? It's 1, 2, 3. So what's the area? It's 15. Now you try finding the base, height, and area of parallelogram C. The base is 2, the height is 3, and the area is 6. Now you try finding the base, height, and area of parallelogram D. Remember, you can turn your paper sideways to make it easier to count the base and height. The base is 1, 2, 3, 4. The height is 1, 2. The area is 8. Our next skill is finding the area of triangles. To find the area of a triangle, multiply base times height, then divide by 2, because a triangle is half of a parallelogram. The height is any line that is at a right angle or 90 degrees to the base and goes to the opposite vertex corner, how tall that opposite corner is, of the triangle. Let's draw the height for each base. Go ahead and draw the height for each base on your paper now, then compare them to mine. To draw the height for shape A, we would need to go to the opposite corner from the base at a right angle. Same for B. We would need to go to the opposite corner from the base at a right angle. Sometimes we may have to go outside of the triangle to be able to draw that right angle. But we have to make sure that it goes all the way to the opposite corner of the base and creates a right angle. Go ahead and check to see that you've drawn all your bases and heights the same way I have. Now let's find the area of each triangle. Remember, we need to do base times height and then divide by 2. Look at the first triangle. What's the base? The base is 5. What's the height? The height is 6. So what's the area? Well, what's 5 times 6? 5 times 6 is 30. What's 30 divided by 2? 2 goes into 3 one time. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So the correct answer is 15. The area of that triangle is 15. Let's look at the next one. What's the base? The base is 7 centimeters. What's the height? The height is 3 centimeters. It's at a right angle to the base. So the area is 7 times 3 and then divided by 2. What's 7 times 3? 7 times 3 is 21. Divided by 2 is 10 and 1/2. Now you try the last one. What's the base, height, and area of the last triangle? The base is 6, the height is 5, the area is 30 divided by 2, which is 15. 6 times 5 is 30, divided by 2 is 15. Sometimes we need to find the area of polygons by breaking them into multiple triangles or rectangles. Let's find the area of the first shape by cutting it into 2 triangles. Go ahead and create a space to show your work. What's the base of the top triangle? The base of the top triangle is 4 units. What's the height of the top triangle? The height of the top triangle is 2 units. So what's the area? Well, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the area of the top triangle is 4. What's the base of the bottom triangle? The base of the bottom triangle is 4. What's the height of the bottom triangle? The height of the bottom triangle is 5. What's the area of the bottom triangle? Well, 4 times 5 is 20 divided by 2 is 10. The area is 10. Now I can add the 4 from the top plus the 10 from the bottom to get an area of 14 square units. Now you try one. I would suggest breaking it into a rectangle and 2 triangles. Go ahead and find that area now. The area is 8 plus 8 plus 2, or 18 square units. Sometimes we'll be given a shape not on the coordinate grid, and we need to cut it into 2 shapes that we can find the area of. Let's take a look at this pentagon. I can see that I can cut this pentagon into a triangle and a rectangle. Let's find the height of the triangle. I know that the total height is 18 inches and the height of the rectangle is 12. So I can subtract 18 minus 12 to find the height of the triangle. What's 18 minus 12? It's 6. Now I can find the area of the rectangle and the area of the triangle and add them together to find the area of the pentagon. What's the area of the rectangle? Well, first, what's the base of the rectangle? It's 10. What's the height of the rectangle? It's 12. So the area is 120 square inches. What's the base of the triangle? It's 10. What's the height of the triangle? It's 6. So what's the area? Well, 10 times 6 is 60. 60 divided by 2 is 30. So the area of the triangle is 30. So to find the area of the pentagon, I can add 120 plus 30 to get 150. Now you try the hexagon. The hexagon has sides that are each 6 units. It is 10 units tall, and each smaller line is 4 units. To find the area of the hexagon, we need to find the area of 2 different triangles plus the rectangle in the middle, then add them together. Go ahead and find the area of the hexagon now. The area of the hexagon is 100 square units. Each triangle has a base of 10 and a height of 4, so its area is 40 divided by 2, or 20. The rectangle has a base of 6 and a height of 10, so its area is 60. When I add all those up, I get 100. The next thing we talked about were nets of three-dimensional figures. Polyhedra, that's the plural of polyhedrons, are three-dimensional figures with polygons for faces. Prisms have 2 bases and rectangular faces. Pyramids have 1 base and triangles for faces. So let's name these shapes. What's the name of shape P? It's a triangular pyramid. It has a triangle as a base, and the rest of its faces are triangles. What's the name for figure E? It's a rectangular prism. It has rectangles as its faces and as its 2 bases. What's the name for figure C? Figure C is a triangular prism. It has 2 triangular faces, and the rest of its faces are rectangles. What's the name for figure Q? Figure Q is a rectangular pyramid. Match each net to its polyhedron. Net A, which polyhedron would that make? Net A would make number 3, the rectangular pyramid. Net B, which polyhedron would that make? Net B would make 2, the rectangular prism. Net C, which polyhedron would that make? Net C would make 4, the triangular pyramid. Net D, which figure would that make? Net D would make 5, the triangular prism. Net E, which figure would that make? Net E would make 1, the cube. Now let's talk about finding surface area. Remember, surface area means the total area of all of the faces on the shape. First, I need to find the side lengths. Then I can find the area of each face and add them up. When I'm presented with a rectangular prism, I just need to remember that I can only see 3 out of the 6 faces. So let's find the surface area. What's the surface area of the front face? The base is 4 and the height is 2. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. That means that the back face also has an area of 8. What's the area of the side face? The base is 5 and the height is 2. The area is 10. That means the area of the other side is also 10. What's the area of the top face? The base is 4 and the height is 5. The area is 20. That means that the area of the bottom face is also 20. Now I can add all of those numbers up to find the total surface area. What do you get when you add the area of all of those faces? The area is 76 square units. Now you try one. What's the surface area of the next figure? The area is 52 square units. Check your work with mine. We can also find surface area using the nets of figures. Look at the figure on the left. First, what kind of polyhedron would be made by that net? It would be a triangular prism. Now, I can find the area of every face, then add them up. What's the area of the rectangle on the left with base 10 and height 5? It's 50. What's the area of the rectangle in the middle with base 8 and height 5? It's 40. What's the area of the rectangle on the right with base 6 and height 5? It's 30. Now I need to find the area of the triangles. Each triangle is the same. What's the base of each triangle? It's 8. What's the height of each triangle? It's 6. So what's the area of each triangle? The area of each triangle is 24 square units. Now I can add up all of those faces to find the total surface area. What's the total surface area if I add 50, 40, 30, 24, and 24? The total surface area is 168 square units. Now you try one. First, what polyhedron would be made by the net on the right? This is a rectangular pyramid, or square pyramid. What is the surface area? Remember, find the area of the square and the area of all of the triangles, and then add them up. The area is 96 square units. Each triangle is worth 15, and the square in the middle is worth 36. When I add up 15 4 times plus 36, I get 96. We also talked about squares and cubes in this unit. Let's start by finding the value of each exponent. 3 squared. That means the same as 3 times 3. What's 3 times 3? It's 9. 2 times 5 squared. That's the same as 2 times 5 times 5. Or 2 times 25. What's the value of 2 times 5 squared? It's 50. 4 to the third power. That means 4 times 4 times 4. What's the value of 4 to the third power? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 is 64. 4 to the third power, or 4 cubed, is 64. What's 6 to the third power, or 6 cubed? It's 216. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. Now let's answer the questions. A square has a side length of 4 units. When you see a question like this, draw a picture. What is the area of the square? Well, what is the area? 4 times 4 is 16 square units. A square has an area of 4 square units. What is the side length? What number times itself is 4? It's 2. A square has a side length of 8 units. What's the area? Well, 8 times 8 is 64 square units. A square has an area of 49 square units. What's the side length? What's times itself is 49. 7. Jim wants to find the area of a square with a side length 5. What's a multiplication sentence he could use? He could do 5 times 5. How would I write that as an exponent? That would be 5 to the second power, or 5 squared. Jim also wants to find the volume of a cube with side length 6. Remember, volume is length times width times height, and a cube has all the same side lengths. What multiplication sentence could Jim use? He could use 6 times 6 times 6. How would I write that as an exponent? That's 6 to the third power. You've done a great job on this video. Now it's time to answer the questions on your exit ticket. If you finish early, turn it in with a raised hand, and then you can get on Prodigy.